Okay, let's get started. Again, thank you and welcome for attending the November version of the Sage CRE Brunch Club put on by the good folks at RKL eSolutions. My name is Mark Severance. I serve as the Director of Construction and Real Estate Sales here at RKL eSolutions. And with me is my esteemed colleague, Ben Hofferman.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good to see you today.
Ben, it's great to see you again, and definitely looking forward to this discussion today focused on service management, extending automation to the field for our technicians, managing work orders, scheduling, tickets, streamlining billing, all that good stuff. I won't get into all of it now. I know we have an agenda with good questions, and today is really designed to be a conversation on what you're seeing in the construction industry. What are some benefits of automating service, perhaps some risks of failing to do so, and how is new technology taking service management to the next level? So definitely looking forward to this discussion and really appreciate you being here and lending your expertise to it.
Great, thanks.
All right. First question that I've got for you today, Ben, this is kind of broad and high level, but I'd just love to get your input on the trends that you're seeing in the construction industry related to service.
Well, thanks, Mark. That's a great question and a great place to start. I think it's all about customer experience. Clients want to be kept in the loop, and there's a big push towards communication tools. Scheduling and dispatching is getting smarter. Expect updates on their tech's arrival, maybe their picture. It's not just about fixing things when they break. Preventative maintenance by analyzing historical data, or faster incident resolution because of root cause analysis, or virtual agents that can answer common questions, both on the web and via our phone lines. Enhanced collaboration and knowledge sharing for the techs leads to faster resolutions. Basically, more data analytics and performance monitoring. These are big trends right now, Mark.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and love to kind of dive into each one of those. Just one other thought, one other question related to trends. Some of the things that I've been hearing in discussions with our clients or prospective clients is that companies are thinking about diversifying their revenue streams. And so perhaps rather than just up type construction, but to say, how can service be an additional revenue stream to traditional construction ones? So I'm just curious if you're seeing some of that as well, and if you have any comments on that.
Well, when you get into industries like the solar industry or electrical or HVAC, and you're doing large-scale installations, that follow-up service and warranty work, it's an excellent venue for additional revenue sources. I think that if you're doing those type of installations, you're probably considering your service department and expanding that. On the residential side, that's more of a commitment to being in that product line, and it's true. We are starting to see some of our commercial providers move into the residential world to expand their businesses.
Yeah, good. So all of that to say, sounds like a very, very relevant topic. And diving a little bit deeper here is I'm just curious what you would say as what are the primary operational reasons for a company to not just implement a service management solution, but make sure it's the right one and very effective for them and their interaction with their customers?
Well, a good solution should provide a lot of features, and you have to organize your organization's needs. But let's start with it should be a central hub for all information. No more scrambling to find information about a work order or a piece of equipment. The data should help us spot problems early. We should look for operational efficiencies like enhanced communication, or routing is a great example, routing of our trucks. We should have instant access to on-site equipment, the schematics for that equipment. We should expect faster response times, better resource allocation within our organizations, and data-driven decision-making, even skills matching for service calls and technicians. We have compliance management. Conforming to regulatory requirements is always a burden, so providing a central shared storage for compliance docs like environmental reports or certificate expirations. We could automate requesting updated certificates or streamline the renewal process. It can help us ensure safety or environmental checklists are completed. It gives our organizations scalability, more service with requests with less bodies managing the mundane office tasks. There's some other great reasons, like the ability to report and track changes. You get access to the history of service, and you can do parts and PO tracking within these systems.
Man, you listed like 12 reasons there, and that is amazing. I would agree with each and every one of them. One of the things that you may have just touched on briefly that perhaps just to kind of double click on a little bit and then talk a little bit more about is when a technician is servicing a client, also having access to the history of the client in general, but of specific assets specifically to know what's happened and perhaps then to guide their work in terms of the work order and with a whole lot of necessary context. So maybe talk about a little bit more on the operational side about not just service management, but also asset management.
Sure. Well, our service tools really should be able to catalog what equipment is on site, what our previous work history was. Automation should allow us to understand what the most common causes of problems are. We've talked a little bit, or we've touched about predictive maintenance, so we should already know what those service intervals look like. Having service calls out there often can prevent failure from occurring when the moment comes. So there's a lot that we can do with these type of tools.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Now, we talked about operational reasons to automate service and work order management. Those are directly connected to financial reasons. Everything we're doing, we understand will impact the bottom line. And so talk a little bit about financial reasons to automate service and work order management and all of our technicians.
Yeah, this is an easier list. Time is money. So let's start right from the fact that automation cuts down on wasted time by techs with paperwork and scheduling. We can increase our cash flow by invoicing on the spot or just faster and more accurate billing. And more accurate, faster billing means quicker payment cycles. We can reduce the human errors and disputes, get happier customers. We can improve our inventory management. Automation typically means less items are forgotten on the billing. Scalability, we get scalability with automation. More jobs, less time spent on paperwork. And automation just brings better data analytics and reporting, giving us better insight into the future and staffing requirements and needs of our organization.
100%. You talked about reporting and analytics, so I want to get to that in just a few minutes. But one of the things that you had mentioned, and we talked about operations, we talked about financial reasons, and again, there's 15 reasons or so that you just listed, and there's more that we haven't even talked about. But then now move from operations to financial reasons, now to the human resource type reasons for why it's so important as we think about automating service management for the human beings, our most valuable resources within the organization.
Well, we're going to touch a bit of that in a few different ways, but the bottom line there is I believe we must give our folks the right tools or they will go somewhere else where those tools exist. Our folks should have the best available resources.
100. Yeah, I was going to say 100%. And you may have heard, Ben, that there's a bit of a labor shortage in the construction industry in general. Have you heard anything like that?
Well, I have, and I think that's really that human element. They are our most valuable resource. They have a body of knowledge that AI or any of these other tools can't replace. These tools enhance the skills of our technicians. And once again, giving them the proper equipment to do their job gives them a level of satisfaction on the job. Or to say it another way, not giving them those tools, increases the level of dissatisfaction and can also cause some frustration on the customer end when solutions are less efficiently resolved.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just agree with what you shared. Obviously, I was being a little bit tongue in cheek in terms of speaking about the labor shortage. Everyone is well aware of it. I was at a conference recently, and just the labor shortage, the number of construction jobs versus capable people ready and able and willing to fill them. It's a huge, huge gap. And so as we think about being an employer of choice, we talked about this in a previous brunch club. How strategic is it for us to have the tools available to give to technicians so that they say, I can do my job well, and I am freed up to do what I like best, which is serving customers, solving problems, versus being just bogged down in all sorts of manual paperwork and inefficient processes.
Well, there's so much packed in there, Mark. Beyond providing the right tools to our equipment, help share with our employees that we value them and we value their time. We don't want them spending unnecessary time on mundane tasks, moving around paperwork, shuffling schedules. If automation can pick that up, they can spend their time focused in on the analytical work, on providing the best and optimal solutions for our clients. They can spend their time looking forward for innovative solutions and not be bogged down by honestly tasks that nobody wants to perform, that we can turn over to a computer, turn over to bots, turn over to automation, and increase that employee satisfaction on the job. If you're happy at work, you typically don't want to leave, and you're typically not looking elsewhere for other opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. That improved retention, percentages of employees that are more likely to stay. We want to do all that we can because it is such a hassle, one, to not have enough employees, but also then once we hire them, train them, invest in them, we want them to stay because replacing a long-term employee with somebody new is very difficult and very costly. And so again, on a human level, it's providing the best experience so that your most important resource is optimized. And then that just serves them. It serves customers that they are working for, as well as then serves the greater organization. Now,
And that
go
makes
ahead.
the assumption that you can find an employee to fill the shoes of one that left, or one that would be happy with tools. So honestly, investing in your organization not only gives you scalability because the people that are there can do more with their time, but it really promotes a more beneficial environment.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, that's outstanding. Now, we're going to maybe ask a similar question, but in a different way. We've talked about the benefits, the value operationally, financially, from a human resource perspective. My next question, and this is maybe just the opposite of what we've just talked about, but if anyone's listening in and saying, I don't really know, I just want to put a finer point on what are some of the risks of continuing to do things manually?
Well, as you know, Mark, we really do like to focus on the benefits of making changes within our organization. Don't often like to take that backwards look at some of the issues, but let's start with just the wasted time on paperwork and administration. That lack of automation or manually doing things makes it really tough to spot trends and patterns. It's really hard to see the profitability of the work that we're doing. I believe it leads to human errors, which leading to both employee and customer dissatisfaction, to that point that we were just discussing. Employees may want to leave us for a less stressful environment. We just said it about, I believe we must give our folks the right tools or they will go where they are. It reduces our competitiveness. If our peers are using advanced tools, they're solving their customers' problems, they're getting the recommendations, people are saying it on Yelp and all those other services. In the commercial end, we all know who performs well, who has the edge in both performance and service. So it's important to keep that edge. There's an increase in our compliance risk. Manually doing things leaves us extremely exposed to all of the different checklists and requirements that we have on the job, from environmental to safety. It can cause delays in billing and cash flow pressures. We lack real-time data. Manual means less analytical insight. And we said it a few times, it's that vulnerability to turnover. If you don't give your employees the right tools, they will go somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you for that summary, Ben. We just want anybody listening in to have a very clear sense of the importance, the return on investment, and really how essential it is to not just neglect this or to continue to deal with remedial or faulty or incomplete tools. So I want to shift gears a little bit in that one of the benefits of any type of service management automation is better insight. And I use the word insight. I want to distinguish that from reporting, because reporting is designed to give us insight. So whether it's reports or dashboards, certain KPIs, that should be one of the benefits of any world-class service management solution. So I'd just be curious if you would talk about what type of reports, dashboards, metrics are available when somebody says, I'm going to invest in a modern service management solution.
Well, every organization is a little different, but there are definitely some generalities. But starting by putting automation in place gives you a bird's eye view on all of your tasks and events, their progress, the status, what's open, what's in the backlog. Automation creates scheduling and dispatch efficiencies. Travel times and distance can be optimized. Work orders can be matched to the right skills. We can do skills alignment assistance. Safety and compliance is enhanced, and compliance docs are tracked and stored. You get organized incident and accident reporting. Safety checks are documented. Your work order management reports. Well, here's another area where you can get a lot of valuable information. You can report on the number and the status of work orders, the average time to complete. You can break them down by tech or task or type. Basically, you can drill down into that service contract profitability. You can get your preventative maintenance contract renewal automation and collections through an auto pay system. There are so many benefits. You can get technician performance reporting, right? So we can slice and dice how a technician spends time, how much time they spend on the road, how much time between jobs, how much time are they spent mileage, how much time does it take to find a resolution. We get customer service reports like repeat visits or callback rates, response times, resolution times. There's a host of valuable information by storing it all in a database.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think all of what I'm hearing you say is you have the data to be able to make better decisions on different levels of evaluation. And you mentioned things like maintenance contracts or individual technicians or perhaps technician teams. I think without the data, you're probably left to say, well, I have a hunch that so and so over here is underperforming, or we have a standard and this group over here is not meeting that standard. But it's difficult to go beyond a hunch or kind of a gut feel without having data to be able to back up that hunch.
That's a really fair point, and part of the evolution of automation. Yesterday we automated the accountants, and they've been doing all sorts of financial forecasting and evaluation of the back office budgets. But really, with the advancement in mobility and tools in the field, we now can do the same thing with what our field technicians have been doing. So gone are the days of those sheets of paper that we can't read, can't compare. We now can automate that function or run it all through our systems, house that data, slice it and dice it at very granular levels. We've given a couple examples of, by technician or task, but honestly, with business intelligence and dashboards, you can slice it and dice it however your organization desires to look at it.
Yeah, excellent. So that you can really understand profitability at whatever dimension that you want to analyze, and then make the necessary improvements based on the data.
It's fair to say.
Right. Excellent. Well, this next question is one that I get really excited about. We have been hearing in general, all across every part of our lives, about artificial intelligence. And you and I are big fans of AI to be able to automate some of those tasks and help the humans do better work. So I just am curious, I'd love to get your thoughts on what you're seeing and what our customers are experiencing with AI, artificial intelligence, as a tool to automate service management?
We could spend the whole day on how AI is being weaved into our construction solutions, but
Hey, Ben, I got a lot going on today, so I probably don't want to spend the whole day. How about 3 or 4 minutes?
nah, well, it's a great topic, but to focus in on maybe what's important. Thanks, Mark.
You got it.
The AI helps expedite resolution times. It reduces the workload on our service teams. AI can help ID patterns and requests. It learns over times. It can identify repeat problems and the resolutions faster. Chatbots and digital assistants can be life-changing. On the company side, bots can handle routine customer inquiries and service requests. But for the service techs, voice control is life-changing. You get safety improvements from the hands-free capabilities. Augmented reality can put a schematic on top of a piece of equipment, making it much easier to determine what's wrong. They can get conversational support for the specific equipment being serviced. Advanced diagnostics and predictive analysis based upon, yes, what I'm working on right now. Work order completion can be done verbally, and AI can clean up the language and grammar, plus align the terminology to your billing descriptions. This takes a huge load off of our techs and the office teams while reviewing and releasing the billing. We can get predictive maintenance and route optimization. AI can do a lot to bring more money to the bottom line.
Man, that's fantastic. I just want to clarify something that you said there. You talked about AI being able to clean up language on a work order or a service ticket that would then translate into invoicing.
Yes, that's right.
Tell me more about that.
We have tools within our work order completion that allow our technicians to grab their phone, speak into it, say, yep, I'm on rooftop 3. I've completed the maintenance, the cleaning, got rid of all that crap that was in there. And the AI knows the crap actually means debris and other stuff and can modify the language, can align it to the type of codes that our billing department uses to deliver to our customers so that we have a consistency on the billing side, but have the documentation on the equipment side for our continued use.
Man, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay, Ben, question for you today is we work with Sage ERP for construction, Sage 100 contractor, Sage 300 CRE, and of course, Sage Intacct Construction, which is Sage's cloud platform. And for those clients who are saying we have a Sage platform, and even for others who don't have a Sage platform, but that's kind of where our clients are focused, what options are available for automating service and work order management?
Well, let's start from a point of general agreement. Ideally, all of our financial and operational solutions should be in the cloud for maximum benefits. For me, a back office using Sage Intacct for construction would be an ideal starting point. It represents the ideal cloud-based central hub for your financial reporting and dashboard. But when we start talking about true service solutions, Sage Field Operations comes to mind. It connects Sage 100 contractors, Sage 300 construction and real estate, and Sage Intacct for construction to a single product series called Sage Field Operations. Anyway, Sage Field Operations provides real-time access to work orders, service calls, information both in the office and in the field. It has really tight inventory integration, fantastic dashboards with BI business intelligence and analytics. But Sage's Intacct's open APIs allow us a lot of other options. Some of our clients may currently be using Procore for their work orders. We can plug that right in. But maybe others of folks have heard about a product called BuildOps. BuildOps provides both project management as well as service and field operations. Its mobile apps keeps the techs up to date and informed and has some really nifty AI features. It has great analytics and reporting. Best of all, it integrates with our Sage back office construction suites. There are many other products like eService, Service Trade, and even Service Titan. But honestly, Mark, I think if folks on the line are interested in their options, they should reach out to you.
That would be fantastic. Ben, really at RKL, We are about understanding what a client needs today, where they're going in the future, and then how can we help to guide their automation journey. So as with any type of automation, our process starts with a very thorough discovery call. We want to make sure that we understand what are the key drivers, what are the key priorities, what's the context for this need, as well as what does the next 3 to 5 years hold for the organization, because we want to be able to plan for the future. And so it's great to have options. And I just want to emphasize something that you shared is that options increase with a product that was designed to integrate. And that is the Sage Intacct Construction Cloud platform, designed with open APIs so that whether it's Sage Field Operations, Build Ops, or something else, the ability to integrate quickly, efficiently, and durably is that you have a lot more options for a true best-in-class solution. So I think that's where we'll wrap for today. Line is RKL is here to be able to help your organizations be better and to be able to optimize your human resources by automating as much of your operations as possible. And we love to be able to do that with the Sage ERP platform at the core, and then provide integrated automations around that. So Ben, that's it for me. Is there anything else that you would say in closing today?
I want to thank you again for inviting me to speak, and really appreciate everyone who spent some time listening to us today. Thanks again.
Yeah, fantastic. And for those on the line, thank you so much for your attendance. We are excited to be able to follow up with you and to help you on your automation journey. Hope you have a wonderful day.